because they've worked for 5 or 6 months for one night. It's a one-and-done bid league, so every turnover, every missed shot, every missed free throw matters in a game like this, and who knows what'll decide it. But 40 minutes from now, we crown a champion.
And one thing's for sure, in these type of games, there always seem to be a couple of breakout stars. Who are they going to be tonight?
Well, Kenny Carpenter, what a great story. He grew up, he went to Cass Tech High School, which is literally within the shadows of this arena. A team leader, a senior, recruited by Gary Waters, and now a good, solid piece for Dennis Felton. And then how about Loudon Love? This kid was 325 pounds. In high school, he was an offensive lineman thinking about playing football. Hurt his knee, signed with South Dakota State, and Scott Nagy transferred with him to Wright State. And guess what, Rich? As a freshman, he's one of the best players in this league.
All he did was win Horizon League Freshman of the Year, averaging a double-double in league play. Your officials tonight, Bo Borowski, P.J. Karstensen, and Paul Sells. Wright State in the white unis control the opening tip, and the Horizon League Championship is underway with the trip to the NCAA tournament on the line.
Cleveland State has played excellent defense in their last 8 games. They've won 6 of them.
Here's the first touch from Love. Cole Gentry, 31 in white, the point guard. The first shot by Hughes. Off the mark, and here comes Cleveland State, the upstart Vikings, 12 and 22 on the year and just 6 and 12 in Horizon League play.
Well, they've got 2 precocious freshmen, including the point guard, Tyree Appleby, who was a great story out of Jacksonville, Arkansas.
There's Appleby, number 5 in green. Nice feed inside. And the bunny doesn't go for Anthony Wright.
Remember what I said about missed layups, missed free throws? Got to make those.
Grant Ertzhausen, and an offensive foul called on Wright State.
And another freshman we talked about, we mentioned Appleby, Stefan Kenic, young man out of Serbia. He's had a really good season. And another one of those building blocks for first-year head coach Dennis Felton.
Here's Bobby Word, 20 in green. Gives it up to the freshman Appleby. Hard hedge by Love. 10 on the shot clock for the Vikings. They go inside again. Kenic with 5 on the shot clock. And Love's got his first rebound of the night.
Yeah, Kenic had a point-blank opportunity to score, but he kicked it out. This is an average shooting team, Cleveland State, but they do shoot a lot of threes.
Nothing average about Grant Benzinger, but he's off the mark on that first attempt. And over a minute and a half into the game, we're still scoreless. Is that typical in this type of situation?
That's what I talked about. I mean, this is pressure at its purest.
Here's a turnover. Benzinger leading the Raiders up the court. Both these teams won rock fights in the semifinals. Very low-scoring, defensive-minded affairs last night. Love off the mark again.
If you're Cleveland State, the longer you stay in this game, the tighter Wright State will get. We saw that the last 2 nights.
Carpenter opens the scoring. Kenny Carpenter, as you mentioned, from Cass Tech High School, a stone's throw from where we're calling this game right now in Little Caesars Arena.
I mean, literally could walk here in less than 5 minutes.
Ertzhausen gave up the shot, tried to pass it, and the ball goes out of bounds. Wright State basketball. Dennis Felton in his first season in Cleveland, but 12th overall as a head coach, and he's no stranger to taking a mid-major team to the NCAA tournament. Did it 3 times with Western Kentucky, and also as the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, visited the NCAA tournament. Intent to shoot for the Raiders. There's a freshman, Winchester, and he's off the mark.
This is a good start for the Vikings. As I said, Wright State knows they're supposed to win this game. And so the longer Cleveland State can do what they've done throughout this tournament, the more confidence they'll continue to play with.
That ball goes out of bounds. It's going to be Wright State basketball. Well, Scott Nagy, no stranger to taking mid-majors to the postseason himself. He did it in 2012, 13, and 16 as the head coach at South Dakota State. Spent 21 seasons there before now being in the suburbs of Dayton in his second season with Wright State.
You remember Nate Walters, who played in the NBA as late as this past season with the Jazz. He was a solid star for the Jackrabbits and Scott Nagy. And this coaching staff recruited Mike Daum, who's one of the best players in the country.
Those Jackrabbits will be on ESPN in the Summit League Championship coming up later. Carpenter, the only scoring from the game coming from Kenny Carpenter, but he's off the mark on that shot. Here's Cole Gentry, the feisty point guard, opens the scoring for the Raiders.
They do not mind when Cole Gentry shoots that ball, even though he's a playmaker.
Appleby, back-to-back threes. And he plays like anything but a freshman, Fran.
Oh, no question. He has great poise. And this has been a coming out party in the Horizon League for that freshman from Arkansas.
Winchester aggressive.
Another freshman. You're going to see some really good young players on the floor that are going to be Horizon League stars someday.
There's a Cleveland State team that likes to shoot the three. They do it more than any Horizon League team in the conference. Appleby out to work. Here's a three ball off the mark. Offensive rebound. And Wright can't get it to go, no whistle.
Pretty much a continuation of the semifinals. Scoring at a premium.
Inside Love. Good help defense by Appleby getting a hand on it.
And that's what we saw today at the shoot-around. Backside help on the big fella.
Kenich inside, got fouled, and Stefan Kenich will go to the line and shoot two. We got a close game in the opening minutes of the Horizon League Championship. Is it another rock fight?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Little Caesars, home of the hot and ready pizza, and Verizon, the most awarded network ever.
Well, Cass Tech High School, which is a stone's throw from us here in Little Caesars Arena in downtown Detroit, known mostly for their music program. Diana Ross is one of the most famous graduates, but tonight in the Horizon League Championship, Kenny Carpenter for Cleveland State is a Cass Tech alum. Let's go inside the play, Fran.
Yep, remember the help that you got to give if you're going to guard Loudon Love. Now watch as this ball is reversed, and we're going to freeze it right here. Here's the defender on the top side. It looks like they can throw it in, but watch Tyree Appleby come from the backside and cause some havoc and knocks that ball away. And that's the kind of scouting report defense we saw today in the walkthrough. By the way, Cass Tech, you didn't mention Big Sean?
That's your guy, I know.
Yeah, come on, man, so good.
Hey, I'm in Motown. I got to go with Diana Ross.
Nah, you got to stay up. You got to be hip and trendy, my man.
Hey, they have some basketball talent there that graduated a while ago too.
Yeah, Cass Tech.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Chris Douglas Roberts was the last NBA player, but you remember Touched by an Angel?
Sure.
Della Reese, one of my favorites. Cass Tech, great music school, magnet school, so it attracts a lot of quality students from around Detroit.
Stefan Kenich, a Fran Fraschilla favorite from Serbia, 9.8 points a game in the regular season. Got both free throws there, 79% free throw shooter. He had 17 in that big win over top-seeded Northern Kentucky a couple of nights ago. So a 7-5 Cleveland State lead. The first legitimate Cinderella of this postseason. Here's Benziger. Got it.
Carpenter was confused. I think he thought there might be a switch out on that. Hales, who's into the game, he's looking at Carpenter like, hey, I just got in here.
Good hands by freshman Jalen Hall, someone I know you're very high on.
Oh yeah, again, this is a terrific freshman class for Scott Nagy.
There's Appleby, he has an early 5 points, and it's a 9-8 Cleveland State lead. Good hands by the Vikings again. Here's Carpenter, spot up three, short. And Ernstshausen clears. Ernstshausen fell down, saved by Gentry, 10 to shoot for the Raiders. Now 5 on the shot clock. Gentry forced it. Good closeout defense by Hairston.
And he's going to get an easy opportunity.
Nice pass at the other end by Hairston, giving it up. And that'll be Terrell Hales, who will go to the line and shoot two.
Yeah, really good touch pass by Hairston. First of all, he made a great defensive play. Look at that little touch pass. Hale's going to get a chance to shoot a couple. Young man, another Detroit kid out of Frederick Douglass. Gary Waters was here at Cleveland State, and he's one of the classiest guys you'll ever meet. He's retired now, and Gary's a Detroit guy who had plenty of connections. Great pipeline from Detroit to Cleveland across Interstate 90 in Northern Ohio. And such a class guy that he was at the press conference for Dennis Felton on the day Dennis Felton was hired as the new coach. But
Hales goes 2 for 2.
Yeah, well thought of and well respected in the Ohio-Michigan basketball community.
All-time winningest head coach at Cleveland State. Vikings have a 3-point lead over the second-seeded Wright State Raiders in the Horizon League Championship. 7 minutes gone by in the first half. Love still without his first bucket of the game. Maybe some freshman jitters on the floor tonight.
And 3 guys hanging on him would hurt his chances to score as well.
Ten on the shot clock. Appleby rises up. Can't knock it down. Love has another rebound. That's 3 rebounds for Loudon Love. Hall off the mark. 1 and done again for Wright State. Carpenter, yes. Second bucket of the night for Kenny Carpenter.
That's an aggressive move by Kenny Carpenter. He didn't have the 3-point shot. He put it on the deck, and then good footwork inside to not travel.
The lead is 5. It's the largest of the game. Benziger, the lefty jumper, and Word fouled him on the way up. So Benziger goes to the line when we come back, and when we return, we'll hear from Joey Brackets in the bunker. More on what's coming up in the NCAA tournament from the expert. From Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, it's the Horizon League Championship. Rich Hollenberg, Fran Fraschilla on site. And we're pleased to go to Joe Lunardi, who's now live in the Infinity Bracket Bunker. And Joey Brackets, I know you were keeping an eye on the ACC tournament going on simultaneously. Notre Dame got a win in the first round. What does that do for their chances going forward to get in the field to 68?
Joseph, I'm going to be at the Big 12 tournament tomorrow. If Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, what does it do for both teams' chances to get in?
Well, Joe, we appreciate your time talking about all things bracketology, and stay tuned. Get the coffee working in that bracket bunker. That was Joe Lenardi, resident bracketologist, talking big picture, and there's a lot more of that to come over the next week. Here in the Horizon League Championship, it's a close one. 8th seeded Cleveland State with a 3-point lead over the 2 seed Wright State. Here's Hairston, 2 feet in the paint, got it to go.
Pretty move over Love. And this Viking team has come out focused and certainly determined. Remember now, they would be the only team in NCAA history to go to the tournament with 22 losses if they win, Rich.
That's right. This is a team that knows how to win close games too, Fran. They've won 6 of their last 7 games that have been decided by 1 possession, including 2 of 3 here in the Horizon League Championship. No fear in the hearts of these Cleveland State Vikings.
Kenny Carpenter's been excellent to this point on both ends of the floor.
We watched him last night virtually shut down the 2nd leading scorer in the nation, Kendrick Nunn. And there's Carpenter right on cue, leading all scorers so far with 8 points.
You could say that he's very comfortable being back in the neighborhood.
Here's Benziger. And Grant Benziger has a hot hand for Wright State with 9.
Grant struggled last night, but he's had a terrific season and, in fact, a terrific career at Wright State. Grew up right down the road about 40 miles in Cincinnati and played at famed Moeller High School.
He's #1 all-time in 3-pointers made in Wright State history. Hales gives it up. Here's Carpenter with the ball, 6 on the shot clock. Hairston working on Love. No good, weak side rebound to Benziger. Wright State can tie it up with a triple. Bit of a heat check from Benziger off the mark. Loudon Love keeps it alive. It goes out of bounds and it'll be Wright State basketball.
Oh, you said it, Rich. All because of Loudon Love's effort. He's 1-on-2 in here. Take a look. He doesn't get it the first time, but he stays with it. Now, this is a guy that a year ago was 50 pounds heavier, and the one thing the coach has said today is don't discount the fact that the big fella is a good athlete. We saw an example right there.
That's an example of giving up pizza from your diet. I asked him, what was the biggest thing you had to get rid of? He said, I just stopped eating pizza for a while, and the weight came right off.
Unfortunately, we can't say the same for the 2 of us.
That's because we spent too much time in Greektown.
Exactly.
Jalen Hall with the bucket.
How about the freshmen in this game so far? Appleby, Hall certainly, Kenich, Love. Jalen Hall's out of Houston, Texas.
Carpenter out of bounds, and it's going to be Wright State basketball. 8:19 to go in a tie ball game. It's been closely contested throughout. Neither team has led by more than 5 so far tonight. Wright State 24-9 this year, Fran. That's the most wins in the regular season in program history.
You know what's crazy? They started out the season 0-3. And of course, later on in the non-conference, they knocked off Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech.
Benziger can't give the Raiders the lead. Here's backup point guard Cash Thomas, #1 in green.
Pretty good backup because he started his entire freshman year. Now coming off the bench because of the brilliance of Appleby.
Here's Thomas, 8 to shoot. Spin move, pretty off the window. Mark Hughes, the defensive stopper, gets offensive now. His first bucket of the game, it's a 3-pointer, and Wright State's back on top by 1. The Raiders looking to make their first appearance in the NCAA tournament since 2007. Inside Kenich. He lost it. And Wright State could add to the lead. Hughes. Great effort by Benzinger, but it goes for naught.
And he's right back into play. Look at him.
In the corner, no. A foul on the play. It's going to go on Kenich, and it'll be Wright State basketball. When we come back, we'll introduce you to a young man who is providing all the inspiration the Raiders need in this record-breaking season. While the Horizon League tournament's going on in D-Town in Brooklyn, New York, it's the New York Life ACC tournament. Boston College has already advanced, so has Notre Dame. Syracuse up big on Wake Forest. As we speak, that game is over on ESPNU. Inside this building, Scott Nagy, the head coach for the Wright State Raiders, was talking to us earlier today about the team's inspiration this season going in. Unfortunately, it started on a bad note, but it's turned into nothing but a positive. Ryan Custer, a freshman on the team last year, suffered an unfortunate injury that has so far left him paralyzed from the waist down. He has shown up at every game so far in this building, and he is providing more than enough inspiration for this Raiders team to win the championship.
Absolutely, and he was a big part of last year's team. He played 10 minutes a game. He was one of those hustle guys that every team loves, and a kid that we really enjoy talking to today. And his spirits are great. And you're absolutely right about the inspiration that he provides his teammates.
Talking to Scott Nagy, who is as even-keeled a man as you were going to talk to, even on the day of a championship game like this. He got teary-eyed when he started talking about Ryan Custer. He said in the cut-ups for the scouting report for tonight's game, they cut up some defense and some rebounding and some hustle, and then they showed some shots of what Ryan Custer did for that team last year, and everybody just about lost it.
Exactly. Good post position by Love there.
Hall in the corner, no good.
Cleveland State's defense on Loudon Love has been excellent so far. He's being covered with 2 and 3 defenders.
Kenich off the mark from 3, another rebound for Love. That's 4 early rebounders in 10 minutes, but he has 0 points so far. It's a young man averaging about 15 a game in Horizon League play.
We were watching the semis last night. He got a double-double in the first half. Cleveland State is a set-play team. They're organized, every dead ball down the floor. They have about 60 different sets. You ask why that is. Well, the last few years, Dennis Felton, before coming here, was an assistant at Tulsa. Prior to that, was an NBA scout and influenced quite, I think, effectively by his time with the San Antonio Spurs. You'll see a lot of NBA sets. Of course, that was a turnover right there.
Brent Benzinger went flying into the stands again. Nothing new about that if you followed his career at all. Hall had it blocked. And Ernsthausen picks it up and gets his first bucket of the game. 6 different Raiders have scored, all but Loudon Love. It's a 24-21 Wright State lead. And a traveling violation called on the freshman Appleby.
So take a look, Rich. We pointed out that in a one-game tournament, every play matters, and you don't think Grant Benziger, who's never played in the NCAA tournament, doesn't know that.
Comes from good athletic DNA. His dad, Todd, won a World Series ring back in 1990 with the Cincinnati Reds.
In '89, I remember I was coaching in Ohio, and he had 17 home runs for the Cincinnati Reds, 76 RBIs. Pretty solid major league career overall.
Bobby Word off the mark, the rebound to Hughes.
I used to listen to Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall. Calling those Cincinnati Red games, driving around the state of Ohio recruiting.
Legends. Ernsthausen knocks it down. And how about Parker Ernsthausen, who only had 4 threes in the regular season, got one tonight in the championship game.
And there's a reason for that, because he was shooting 16% on the regular season. Came in 5-4, 27.
An 8-0 Wright State run. Kenich inside, no. Love affected that shot.
You know, he doesn't have to jump. He just walls you off with that big body. It goes about 270.
I think wall is the operative word there.
Marker Ernstausen came in tonight 5 of 30. Made one last night. That's number 6 on the year. Timely.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Investments, retirement, insurance.
Good. That's a good point. You see Scott Nagy right there, and these guys are lifers. You know, Scott Nagy, there's his dad. Speaking of lifers, Dick Nagy was a former assistant coach to Lou Henson for about 16, 17 years. Scott, coaching is in his blood, but you know, Seth and I have both coached at the mid-major level, and we talked about it today. You can be dominant in the regular season like Northern Kentucky and Wright State were, and nothing matters unless you get your team playing well for 3 days in March. And we've seen Cleveland State kind of muck up this tournament, to use a term that those guys just used.
They started off with a win against number 9 Youngstown State, then followed up with the epic upset of Northern Kentucky, seeded first, and last night advanced to the finals with a win over 4th seeded Oakland. Winchester, no. Benziger, no. A couple of point-blank misses for the Raiders. Cleveland State scoreless and close to the last 5 minutes, but Anthony Wright ends that.
Yeah, Tyree Appleby has been on point in pick and roll tonight. He comes off the screen with great vision, and he knows where the defense is and where he needs to put it. It's right on the money each time.
Gentry, short on the 3. And Gentry saves it in the corner. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Here comes Carpenter, the hometown boy in the paint. Doesn't go. Another rebound for Love.
Well, give Dennis Felton credit. They have had a terrific game plan for defending Loud and Love.
Benziger off the mark.
And it's almost to the point that they're giving up on throwing it inside, which I think at this point is a mistake.
Back and forth we go. Gentry gets it to go. Cole Gentry has 5 at a timeout called by Dennis Felton. We have a quick timeout to take. 1 minute, 10 seconds to go in the first half of the Horizon League Championship. Capital One fan vote. This week's Capital One fan vote question is, which top seed is most likely to win its league tournament? And from all the votes in, Kansas and Virginia both come in at 27%. So rock chalk, I guess you could say. I'm
going with Arizona. I think they have a lot of motivation, a lot to play for. It's been a tough couple weeks. And remember, although Virginia blew through the ACC, they only met Carolina and Duke one time each. Oh, they ran a set play there called Hammer, where the man catches the ball, drives baseline, and they try to look opposite corner, but Anthony Wright threw that ball away.
I know from talking to you all season, you don't think that there's any team, especially the ones we just talked about, who are infallible. Much like the top seeds in these mid-major tournaments, one bad game and you're gone.
It's an amazing year for college basketball. We'll find this out on Sunday in the next 3 weeks, because I think there's 30 teams that can get to the Final Four.
30.
I do, absolutely. Teams like Rhode Island, Nevada, certainly. Maybe even it's crazy like a Middle Tennessee State, I think, could get there.
Love got fouled, and you could see the frustration from Loudon Love, number 11 in white. He's got himself 7 rebounds tonight, but he's 0 for 4 from the field. He'll have a chance to get his first points at the free throw line.
That's the first time tonight we saw Wright State be able to throw the ball over the top, over the fronting defense of Cleveland State. And in talking to the Wright State coaches today, they said in the 2 games, the Vikings have done a good job on Love because they're the only team in the league that fronts him. And if you put good pressure on the ball, it makes it hard to throw over the top.
Well, Loudon Love, maybe the weakest point of his game right now, and he doesn't have many, is his free throw shooting. Just a 53% free throw shooter, but he certainly looked good on that first one. An amazing transformation for that young man, from football player to basketball player in every sense of the word.
Let's see if Cleveland State goes 2 for 1 here. Don't think they're going to do it.
Fran, they've hit just 1 of their last 8 field goal attempts, and Love gets whistled for the foul on Appleby.
That's only their 4th team foul, Wright State, so no harm right there, except that Love picked up 1.
You talked about what Dennis Felton has been doing to negate Love on the offensive end. What's Scott Nagy's defense done so well against Cleveland State tonight?
Well, they pack you in and they make you shoot the ball over the top, and we know that's not the strength of Cleveland State, is the long ball. They're an average shooting team, and by design, they pack you in inside the 3-point line.
30 seconds to go in the half, 15 on the shot clock. There's a 3 from the freshman Kenich.
No, and they let him pop that one, and he's probably one of their better shooters at 37%.
Shot clock is off, 15 seconds to go in the half. An automatic bid to the NCAA tournament is on the line for Wright State and Cleveland State. Hughes, another big 3 with time running down. And Cleveland State can't get the ball in bounds, and Wright State will go to the locker room at halftime of the Horizon League Championship with their largest lead of the game. The 2nd-seeded Raiders lead the 8th-seeded Vikings 34-26. Loudon Love, one of the top scorers in the game. Only 2 points so far tonight, but the Raiders with an 8-point lead, 20 minutes away from a championship in the horizon and a trip to the NCAA tournament. Back again on Champ Week, presented by Principal. It's the Little Caesars Horizon League Championship. Around these parts in Detroit, we call it Motor City Madness. And the Wright State Raiders, seated 2nd in the Horizon League tournament, are 20 minutes away from punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2007. Back inside Little Caesars Arena alongside Fran Fraschilla. I'm Rich Hollenberg. It's been good news, bad news for Wright State star Loudon Love. 7 rebounds, but no field goals so far, and yet they still have an 8-point lead.
Yeah, what you love about what they're doing is all 7 players have scored, but look at the amount of green jerseys around Loudon Love. You want to know why he struggled? Well, it's primarily because the Vikings have made a concerted effort from keeping him getting the ball, but his teammates are picking up the slack.
On the other side of the ball, Kenny Carpenter's keeping Cleveland State in this game.
Absolutely, playing in what might be his final game as a Viking and wanting to play well in front of the home folks here in Detroit. He has been sensational, actually, on both ends of the floor.
The bad news for the Vikings, these Raiders are 17-0, Fran, when they take a lead into the second half. The Vikings start off with the ball in the road green uniforms. Here's Wright. Dreadful shooting from the Vikings from distance in the first half, 2 for 12. Word, and they got him for the offensive.
Watch Bobby Word's left arm right here. You see him, a little bit of that chicken wing, and pretty good sell job by Gentry, but it doesn't mean that I think he flopped. It's just that once he felt the contact, he fell back. Smart play. There's another one.
Same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's good for the Goose It's good for the Raider.
Oh, yes. Well, Bobby Word came out on the worst end of both plays because watch the elbow, and he was holding his head. Bobby Word. He wasn't hit up top, but definitely shaken up a little bit.
There's a three by Tyree Appleby, his second triple of the night. He has 8.
Now remember how good he's been in the second half of the last 2 wins.
Here's Love. Still can't get a field goal.
What I really like about this freshman Appleby is he kind of just plays the game until he feels like it's time to take over. I'd expect him to be a little bit more aggressive in the second half.
Ernshausen, and a late call, but an offensive foul called. Second one in a row for Wright State.
Watch Tyree Appleby. Oh, that's a great step back move. Creates a little space. They list him at 6'1". I'm not quite sure he's that tall, but he plays 6'1".
Dare I say that was Kemba Walker-esque. Ernshausen playing up the line, knocks it out of bounds. It'll stay Cleveland State basketball, 17 on the shot clock.
Tyree Appleby played at Jacksonville High School in Arkansas last year. He had almost no Division I offers. When Cleveland State got the job, they spotted him at a tournament in Dallas, and they kind of felt like maybe they'd fallen into something. They brought him up 3 days later to Cleveland on a Tuesday, and he committed right away.
There's Carpenter. He's in double digits with 10.
And what a steal to get this kid so late in the game. He was one of the top 10 players in the state of Arkansas, yet he had very little exposure or offers.
Ernshausen somehow got it to go. Parker Ernshausen averages just 5 points a game. He's got 7 tonight in the championship. And he walled up on defense and forced the turnover.
I can tell you the respect that Wright State has for Tyree Appleby, because Mark Hughes, who is an outstanding defender, one of the best in the league, was guarding him to start that half, and Hughes is going to take a break right now. And I think this would be an ideal time for Appleby to get more aggressive.
Scott Nagy doesn't have a deep Wright State rotation, but he's very liberal with his substitutions. Carpenter the rebound. 10 points, 6 boards for Kenny Carpenter. Went to high school just a stone's throw away, Cass Tech in Detroit. Kenich traveled. Benzinger hangs, can't hit, but gets the follow.
Man, good setup. They isolated him. He was able to drive to the basket, and then what we've seen tonight out of Grant Benzinger is just outstanding extra effort.
Playing in his 131st game as a Raider. That's 3rd all-time at Wright State. And he's playing himself into the conversation of Horizon League Championship Most Valuable Player. Appleby gets fouled. Let's take a look at Benzinger in action.
It's a set play right here. Look at the spacing right here to drive it. So he'll get to the rim, but when he doesn't make it the first time, watch the quick jump ability right there. Good hustle. That is all effort right there by the senior from Cincinnati Moeller High School.
You know, something I love that I've passed on to my teenage son playing basketball, you always say hard work is a talent. It's a skill. It's something you could actually work at.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we mentioned Moeller earlier, right? Cincinnati Moeller, great high school in Cincinnati, right there in Montgomery. It's produced some incredible lineage there. Kendrick Griffey Jr., Barry Larkin, of course, the Baseball Hall of Famer. Byron, who I believe is still the all-time leading scorer at Xavier. And few other Larkins in the family. I think Mike played football at Notre Dame. Bob Crable was a great player at Penn State, and then on to the NFL. At one time, Cincinnati Moeller was the premier high school program, not only in the state of Ohio, but one of the best in the country.
Giving me the itch, Fran. We still got basketball left to play. I'm thinking baseball all of a sudden. There's the follow slam by Hall. The lead is back up to 7 for Wright State. 4 minutes gone by in the final half. Ten to shoot for the Vikings. Now 5 on the clock. Number 5's going to have to squeeze one off. He does. Tough shot. Love the rebound. 8 boards for Loudon Love.
As much as he'd like to get into the action, this team has been pretty balanced tonight.
Here's Love. Still off the mark. 0 for 6 from the field tonight for the redshirt freshman.
I think it's in his head a little bit. I think it is. You know, he's missed a couple of point-blank shots.
And Appleby called for the carry. Moments before that, Grant Benziger was telling the officials that he was carrying the ball. He got that call. A 40-33 Wright State lead, 15:01 to go in the championship.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance.
For the 2,000-point scorer, Tyler Nelson, the senior for Fairfield.
They recruit to love each other. You can see that's the way Sidney Johnson feels.
Well, that's what March is all about in college basketball. And really, if you boil it down even more, Fran Fraschilla, as you well know, that's what mid-major basketball is all about.
Yeah, because you're playing for 5 months for one night, one championship game that's going to decide whether you can look back on your career 40 years later and say, I played in the NCAA tournament.
Here are the teams already, Fran, who have punched their ticket.
Yep. Michigan, of course.
What a throwdown by Winchester.
One of those freshmen we talked about. This young man is from Baltimore, and he signed with the previous coaching staff, with Billy Donovan's staff, and when the coaching change was made, Coach Nagy and his staff convinced him to stay with the commitment. He'd already gotten to be very friendly with some of those other incoming young players, and he is going to be, along with Jalen Hall and Loudon Love, the anchors of this program. And a solid athlete, can play the 3 or the 4. Gilman High School is a very good academic high school in Baltimore.
Look at Love saving the missed free throw. And finally,
there you go.
Loudon Love has got his first field goal tonight. Four points, 9 rebounds for big number 11. Wright State threatening to run away and hide in this Horizon League championship.
Good intensity in the half court. You can see it. Remember, they play inside the three-point line, so it's hard to drive it. Good example right there.
And guess who beats the shot clock? Kenny Carpenter.
Making the most out of potentially his last game in that Vikings uniform.
Love. Benziger went down hard. That's going to be a Cleveland State foul.
Yeah. Benziger, take a look now, and listen, right here. Always in the middle of the action. And I mentioned earlier Bob Crable. I want to correct this. He played football at Notre Dame, the former Moeller star. I want to be able to go to the boathouse down there in the Ohio River and get some ribs, so I want to make sure I correct that before my Twitter feed blows up. My good buddy Tommy Waddle from ESPN Radio in Chicago is a Moeller guy. Boston College. See him on ESPN on occasion.
Talking so much baseball, I would be remiss if I didn't mention someone who I work with during baseball season, Brian Anderson, who's a terrific pitcher in the majors. Pitched not only for Cleveland, but for Arizona, made it to the World Series with them a bunch of years ago. He's a Wright State alum. He's watching tonight.
Good ball movement. They're trying to work it in, but you see Kenneth fronts. Oh, I like this.
10 to shoot. Benziger pays it off.
Really patient job there inside by Ernsthausen, and then good cut. That's a high IQ play by Benziger. Saw that Ernsthausen was in trouble, but Cleveland State played excellent defense on Loudon Love, and they pressured the passer, which is why you couldn't throw it in.
Grant Benziger has 13 points and 7 rebounds. With 5 on the shot clock, Word threw it up against the glass. Hairston gets it back. And almost hit the desperation 3 as the shot clock wound down, and it will stay Cleveland State basketball.
Yeah, Parker Ernsthausen usually is like he wants to throw it inside. Okay, he's looking inside right here. They can't get it to Love. So watch Ernsthausen. He's going to try to drive it, and then once you get stuck, you see the cut by Benziger. Great job, and uses it on the backside.
Oh, Bobby Word off the inbounds hits his first bucket of the game. He has 3. He had 18 in both games in the regular season against the Raiders.
Yeah, and this guy is a great shooter too, and he hasn't really started to heat up yet. Made over 83s this season.
5 threes made in each of those 2 regular season games against Wright State.
I think we just got a coaching box warning on head coach Dennis Felton.
Now Jalen Hall, the freshman, 0 and white, checks in.
And we were talking about the tension in a game like this. Remember what Coach Nagy told us today? He said, I want our guys to play intense, but not tense. And we want to play with some joy. Look at that.
That's joyful.
Absolutely.
The third 3 of the night for Mark Hughes.
And they gave him a rhythm 3, and he just took it.
Well, he was Horizon League all defense this year, but his offense is certainly coming in handy tonight. Kenich. And Hughes the weak side rebound. And a foul called.
Take a look at Mark Hughes right here. He's going to line up the 3. They don't really make him put it on the floor. And he makes you pay.
A 10-point lead, just over 12 minutes left. That's all that stands between the Wright State Raiders and their first trip to the Big Dance since 2007. Benziger working on Word. And here come the Vikings.
Oh, nice.
Word aggressive. That was halfway down before it fell out.
Every shot right now matters. And for Cleveland State, some of them matter more, like that one.
Love from close range.
Big fella didn't want to expend a lot of energy right there. He tiptoed that ball in the basket.
Dennis Felton wants to talk it over, uses one of his timeouts with 11:05 to go, and his team down by its largest margin.
Yeah, watch the drive by Hall. He draws a couple defenders, and the big fella makes it pay.
Champ Week rolls on, bids being handed out. One thing's for sure, there will be a champion in Brooklyn. Will it be Duke? Will it be North Carolina? Right now, Syracuse is taking on Wake Forest. BC and Notre Dame have already advanced. What are your thoughts on the ACC tournament, friend?
8 or 9 teams getting in. Notre Dame still work to do. They've got a big one tomorrow before they get a chance to potentially see Duke. And North Carolina, a 6 seed, hard to believe, coming off the national championship.
And of course, you and I covered the Big 12 all season long. Right now, Joe Lunardi has 8 teams in. Certainly, that would mean Oklahoma State is probably that 9th team on the outside looking in. Do you have anything that jumps out at you from especially those major conferences?
No, not really. When you look at the Big 10 and the ACC, SEC, those leagues have, 14 to 16 teams, so you'd expect a lot of numbers. Big 12, on the other hand, only 10 teams, 9 of them going into the conference tournament, still in contention.
Jalen Hall in traffic, gets fouled. We'll take another timeout as we step aside from the Horizon League Championship. Motor City Madness, we're back right after this. Back here in Motor City Madness, and our Wednesday NBA doubleheader starts right here in the Motor City with the Pistons hosting DeMar DeRozan and the Eastern Conference leading Raptors at 8 Eastern. Then LeBron and the Cavs are in the Mile High City to battle Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN. And speaking of the Motor City, Mr. Fraschilla.
Yep. It's my all-time Motor City team right there. Now, you got to go back in time to my generation. But George Gervin, one of the all-time greats.
Can't
Spencer
argue
Haywood.
with that.
Can't argue with any of these guys.
The one thing I will say is, and you know I'm a little partial, where's DC? Where's Derek Coleman, one of the great power forwards of all time?
You got to win, baby. You got to win at the NBA. By the way, Dave DeBusschere, he was one of the few people in history to play Major League Baseball and in the NBA, and voted 50 greatest players of all time back in, I think, 1996.
And all the youngsters are going to say, where's Jalen Rose?
Jalen's my 6th man. Jalen, keep that baseball bat to yourself, buddy. You know you be my 6th man, but you're not cracking that lineup, Jalen Rose. Jalen is my guy.
Yeah.
He's smart enough to be an NBA GM if he wanted to be right now. But why would you want that headache?
It's going to be part of Mike Greenberg's show.
Yes.
Launching in a month or so.
Jalen just doesn't have very many opinions. That's the only problem.
If he were only more outspoken.
Yeah, he's not outspoken enough.
And everything seemingly going Wright State's way. 9:50 to go. It's going to be Raiders basketball. That's the team's 6th foul for Cleveland State. Hairston will check back in. It's been a frustrating night, especially offensively, for Dennis Felton.
Yes, and you would expect that against a team that plays as good a defense as anybody in this league. The Raiders were number 2 in defensive efficiency behind Northern Kentucky.
Here's Benzinger off the mark. Wright State shooting over 50% this half, Rand. Looking to close out the Cinderella Vikings.
Nice pass.
What a look. Big to big, loud and love notches the dime.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that post-up, he started at about 20 feet, backed this man in.
Inside Hairston. And again, Love affected that shot.
That was excellent. Finishing with a great jump stop, head fake. Jalen Hall, he grew up in Houston, and he spent his high school years with his uncle, who's the coach at Louisville Doss. And took a lot of sacrifice to leave Houston to play with Tony Williams, his uncle. Call him his uncle because he's older, but he's really a cousin. But he gave up being with his family so he could play at a basketball hotbed, Louisville, and it led to a scholarship from Wright State. One of those outstanding freshmen we've talked about tonight.
Yeah, he played in this high school state tournament in, of all places, Rupp Arena. He knows what it's like in atmospheres that have a lot of drama to it.
Yeah, let's go back and watch Loudon Love. He's going to post up at the three-point line. Watch him back in. He's going to suck in that second defender. Never help up. Don't ever help up. You help up, you give up the basket, and that's exactly what happened to the Vikings. He's going to back in again. Be a playmaker.
Now he faces up Kenich. The spin move. Are you kidding me?
Woo! That looked like Kelly Tripucka from the old Piston days.
Twinkle toes.
I'm going to get all my Motor City references in here.
No Bob Lanier yet.
Not yet. The Dauber.
Kenich answers with a three.
That's sweet. Stephen Kenich. Somehow I think he was left off the all-freshman team, but he is a good player. Rangy, kind of that prototypical stretch four. He and Appleby, a great nucleus for the future for the Vikings. Little zone for the first time by Cleveland State. They play about 10% zone over the course of the season.
Winchester, yes.
Another freshman.
This program's in good hands, isn't it?
Yeah, both of them are. Cleveland State right at the beginning of rebuilding. And you know what's interesting about Cleveland State? You know why they're rebuilding? Think of all the great players Gary Waters lost that were poached out of the program. Bryn Forbes went back to Michigan State. Brandon Wood left. Well, he was at Wright State. He left Wright State. But how about Troy Lewis, right? Trey Lewis, Anton Grady.
Benzinger with a three. That's 16 for Grant Benzinger in his final game inside the Horizon League Conference.
Jalen Hall, the freshman, he might be going to the tournament. He's spoiled. And then, oh, sweet. I love that.
Legendary.
Jones for the win. He nailed it. You will never hit a bigger shot in your life.
Ladies, and up and in. The Flashes win it. The Flashes win on a buzzer-beating lay-in by Kevin Sabo.
What a play right before the buzzer.
Well, Loudon Love not scoring a lot tonight, but certainly contributing to the 16-point lead for Wright State as they are staring straight at an NCAA tournament bid. And what a turnaround it's been for Loudon Love. On the left side, that was Loudon as he was thinking about pursuing football for a career. Then he decided to devote his life to basketball, at least athletically. He's lost 50 pounds, Fran.
Yeah, and in his senior year of high school, he was playing offensive line, and he tore his knee up on the final play of the season. The team was down 3 touchdowns. Coach called a running play, and they decided, the players in the huddle decided to run a trick play, kind of a hook and ladder, hook and Loudon play. And it was on that play, the final play of his career, that he hurt his knee. And it was fortuitous because he not only got a chance to transfer from South Dakota State to Wright State, but he also had a chance to sit out because he had signed at South Dakota State, never really played there, came to Wright State, and then last year reshaped his body. And this guy's only a freshman.
Only a freshman. And I talked to him before practice ended, and I said, who do you model your game after? He said, you know, I like Zach Randolph. I'm a Zebo guy. And I said, so what team did you like growing up? He said, I was a Bulls fan and a Celtics fan. You can't be a Bulls fan and a Celtics fan. But he grew up in Vermont from age 2 to age 12, hence the Celtics. But his parents are from Illinois. That's where ultimately he went to high school, and that's why he got to root for the Bulls as well.
Well, the fun part of that connection is that Cole Gentry, his point guard, they were rivals in high school.
Yeah.
And so they knew each other when they got to Wright State. Both were recruited by Coach Nagy at South Dakota State. They're going to be a good tandem for the next 3 years. Gentry, a sophomore.
Five and a half minutes left. 5 on the shot clock.
Whoops. Extra pass.
Got it off, but it was no good. There's Carpenter. And one for Kenny Carpenter.
Well, he's been really, really good from the start of this game. Kenny Carpenter is doing everything he can to keep the Vikings in it. A Detroit kid who, as we've mentioned, if you've just joined us, he grew up and went to school at Cass Tech, which is literally right down the street. And, you know, his coach, David Dixon, is in the stands tonight watching, and he told us before the game this young man was academically ineligible as a freshman. It broke his heart to let his teammates down. He vowed to never let it happen again. Ended up with a 3.5 at Cass Tech, a good school, and just a model citizen, terrific player, and a guy that Dennis Felton, I know, can look back to and say he was one of those guys that helped us build this program. Credit to Gary Waters for bringing that young man to Cleveland State.
I'd be shocked if you didn't find number 4 in Green's name on the first team all-tournament list when it's all said and done.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at my ballot right here there, Rich.
I'm not asking you to tip your hand.
Well, I didn't say I would, but let's just say that I'm going to give him strong consideration.
5 minutes to go. Wright State looking for their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2007.
Oh, nice. Sneaky. Little sleight of hand by Loudon Love right there.
Appleby. And again, the shot altered by number 11 in white, Loudon Love.
Yeah, you know, I don't even think Coach Nagy worries about how many points he's got tonight because he's been a focal point on both ends. We've seen the excellent passing like that. Tough shot. Yeah. Sorry, Rich. It was a tough shot.
He rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
And a fresh 30 with counting down to 4 minutes to go. Here's Love. And he'll go to the line and shoot 2. Balanced scoring tonight for the Wright State Raiders. 9 for the freshman Hall, 9 for Mark Hughes, 8 for Love, 16 for Benzinger, and 9 for Ernsthausen. Steve Levy and Kevin Main have SportsCenter after the West Coast Conference Championship game on ESPN. They'll break down Houston OKC, with the Rockets looking to extend the win streak to 16 and get their 50th win of the season. Plus a look at how the Sixers are just 2 games away from the number 3 seed in the East. And of course, more Joey brackets with tonight's automatic bids and predictions. That's SportsCenter at 11 Eastern on ESPN.
Kenny Main's in tonight?
Yeah.
I once starred in one of his Main Streets.
Yes.
I had a non-speaking role.
I didn't hear your name mentioned in the Academy Awards this past Sunday.
I had one line. How you doing? That was it.
How you doing, Wright State? You're 354 away from a championship.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Little Caesars, world's easiest way to pizza.
Thank you, KC, here at the Little Caesars Arena. It's the Horizon League Championship, and Cinderella might be going down in Cleveland State, but Wright State knows what it's like to be a Cinderella. We flash back to 2007, Fran, when these Wright State Raiders made their way to the NCAA tournament.
Coached by Brad Brownell, who is now doing an outstanding job at Clemson University. And it's so much fun to see that celebration that we're about to see in about 3 minutes, 54 seconds. Some of these kids will never wear a uniform again after college, and to get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament is a thrill of a lifetime.
And Wright State in recent years has been the bridesmaid. 3 of 5 championship games without a win. This is the 4th time in 6 years that they've made it, and it looks like they're finally going to pay it off.
That's a great set play out of the timeout, and then Cleveland State went to a little bit of pressure. And they're going to have to turn the pressure up the last 3.5 minutes. Like that.
Loose ball. You're not going to take it away from that man. And it's going to be possession arrow Wright State.
And Dennis Felton imploring his guys, get on the floor. We're at that stage where every loose ball matters.
"24 wins this season, an all-time high for Scott Nagy and the Wright State Raiders. He's the Horizon League Coach of the Year, and he's really rode his horses into this tournament. They don't play a lot of different players, but there's a steady rotation. He wants effort, 110% all the time, and if you're tired, come out and I'll give you a blow." 7 guys essentially on their way to a Horizon League championship. Five on the shot clock. Benzinger, why not? A game high 19 for Grant Benzinger. And there's Big Daddy. That's Todd Benzinger, knows a thing or two about winning a championship.
A lot of high fives right now. They don't want to celebrate too early. They know what's at stake, but a few more smiles. This young lady, she's not that interested in the big dance.
She's watching another conference championship game on the ESPN app.
Think she's watching the NEC?
Maybe. The officials are reviewing just to confirm it was a 3, and indeed it was.
You see that young lady right there with our little iPad? I think she's watching Derek Kellogg in LIU, the Blackbirds, trying to get to. How about Derek Kellogg? Last year he was let go at UMass, former UMass point guard, a great star, and gets hired at LIU Brooklyn, and now on the precipice of going back to the tournament.
John Calipari disciple, Derek Kellogg. Contested 3, no good. Benzinger gets it. And Grant Benzinger is 1 rebound shy of a double-double tonight. 19 points, 9 rebounds.
Yeah, Scott Nagy didn't like that quick shot. He was wide open, but Scott said use some clock. Oh, nice block out by Ernsthausen. And now Cole Gentry will put this ball on ice a little bit and utilize some of that shot clock.
Well, right now, if things hold to plan, Joe Lunardi has Wright State as a 15 seed going into the NCAA tournament, Fran. What type of team would they be a matchup problem for going forward?
A team that's not ready to play.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll play on a Thursday at about 12:15 when the tournament is just underway, and the team that's the 2 seed is sleepy, feels like they're going to blow Wright State out, and is not ready to, play, because one of the things you do, this is one of my anecdotal things filling out a bracket, take a team, take an underdog early in the tournament, early in the day, because oftentimes the underdog wakes up a little bit better than the favorite. And I know
that's a favorite for Schillism.
I know that from experience. Yeah. The day in '95, we beat Oklahoma, Manhattan College, Miami of Ohio, and Herb Sendek were knocking off Arizona in the opening couple games of the tournament. And it happens every year.
What seed were you that year?
We were 13, yep.
Carpenter.
Yeah, Kenny Carpenter, man, what an effort he's had. He's going to be able to hold his head high, because he's really done everything he could today to keep this Viking team in the game.
2 minutes left in this Horizon League championship game, and a salute to the entire Cleveland State program, because they almost pulled off, maybe not the impossible, but certainly the improbable. They beat Youngstown State in the opening round by 1 point, took down #1 seed Northern Kentucky, and then last night reached the championship game by taking down the 4th seed Oakland Golden Grizzlies. But they're going to come up short against the 2nd seed in the Wright State Raiders tonight.
Now, I want you to watch it, even the fans. This is the first time that the team, the coaches, and the players know it may be over. We've seen crazy things happen, but it's the first time you can start to exhale as a coach and a player that, hey, if we just take care of the ball and make our free throws the next minute and a half, we are going to the dance.
Gentry does just that. Hits his first free throw of the night. Missed the first 10 games of the season, transfer rules, and has been a huge part of the success of this Raiders program this season. Wright State's won 9 of their last 12 games.
You know who's gotten a breather the last few minutes? The big fella.
Loud Love.
Small lineup has been effective because they all handle the ball well.
Gentry. Six of the 7 players in Scott Nagy's rotation have at least 9 points tonight. It's been a complete team effort for the Raiders. And now the clock can't move fast enough for Scott Nagy and company.
This is why you start practicing literally in early July with the workouts. And then you hit the weights during the summer, and in August when you come back. And then you start team practice in early October. And then you have your ups and downs in the non-conference. This team lost 3 in a row to start the season. And you get a surprise and you knock off Georgia Tech and Atlanta. Conference play starts, the bus trips, the Domino's, I should say Little Caesars Pizza after the game on the bus rides home. And then you get a chance to play in a tournament. And you keep dreaming that you're going to be in the big dance.
Now Grant Benzinger, take a bow. Not only are you going to the big dance, but it's just been announced that Grant Benzinger, number 13 in white, is the most outstanding player of this Horizon League championship. And yeah, big man, Todd Benzinger, big men can cry too. He is the epitome of what Wright State basketball is all about.
Well, his effort, I'll tell you what, he made a lot of baskets. But the effort was sensational. And this guy, Kenny Carpenter, man, he knows he's not going to put that green uniform on again, but he was sensational today.
And now Wright State will be able to dribble it out. Scott Nagy told us earlier today all he wants from tonight's effort is for his team to play with joy. There's nothing more joyful for the Wright State Raiders than a Horizon League championship and their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2007. The Raiders are going dancing. The Wright State Raiders have punched their ticket, an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. They are the 8th automatic bid handed out. And according to Joe Lenardi, they will be a 15 seed when the tournament starts next Thursday. I don't think Wright State cares at all about that right now. The inspiration behind this season, you're looking at him right there, Ryan Custer. Confined to a wheelchair after an accident over the summer, but still very much an integral part of this Wright State basketball program, as you can see. And there's Dick Nagy, longtime basketball coach, actually coached with his son Scott at Illinois before Scott went on to be a head coach on his own, first at South Dakota State and now successfully again at Wright State. An emotional scene here as Motor City Madness comes to a close. A big win by the Wright State Raiders, 74-57 over Cleveland State. For my broadcast partner, Fran Fraschilla, and everybody here at ESPN, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Let's send it back to the studio.
Congrats, man. Thanks. That's great. All right, where do you want me? Hold on, I'm killing myself here. How's this feel? Feels comfortable. Okay, who do you want first? Does it matter? Let's get Coach first, and I'll bring Grant in. Okay. 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 Coach, it's a long season. You start in the summer, the hard work, the weights, the practices. What's this feel like?
Well, I told the guys in a year period, we had a lot of tough things happen. Everybody says they've had adversity, but obviously with Ryan getting hurt in April, and we lost a couple really good players that should be with us. But these kids have been unbelievable. I've coached a long time. This has been one of the most fun group of kids I've coached. They really believe, and they're the true definition of a team.
What is the best thing about this Wright State team?
Just that they share. I mean, obviously Grant's our superstar, but we everybody plays a role. Everybody does what we ask them to do. Nobody fights us on anything, and I've just enjoyed the journey so much this year.
Congratulations. Let's get Grant here. The most outstanding player of the tournament, Grant. 4 years at Wright State, and this is how you culminate it. What are you feeling right now?
Everything I wanted out of a college experience. This is the best season I've ever been a part of, the most fun team I've ever been a part of, and it's fulfilling to finally get here and win it.
What's it like going into a championship game knowing that you're the favorite?
I didn't think we were the favorite. Cleveland State's been playing really well lately. They beat Northern Kentucky, Oakland, two really good teams. They had the player of the year at Oakland. So, we weren't coming in thinking we were just going to blow these guys out. It was going to be a tough game, and credit them. They're tough kids, well coached, and glad we were on top.
What's the best thing about this Wright State Raider team?
How together we are and how tough we are. That's the two things I try to tell the young guys. If we're together and we're tougher than the other team, we should win the majority of the games we have this year.
I know you're a great teammate, but tell me what it's like to be the tournament's most outstanding player.
Honestly, I don't think I deserve it. Loudon Love, I think he deserves it. I think I just got it because I'm a senior. He's been unbelievable. How he goes, we go. So he deserves it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Horizon League Men's Basketball Coach of the Year, head coach of the Raiders, Scott Nagy. Coach, congratulations. A school record as a Division I program, 25 wins, none more important than this one. Talk about the guys behind you and what this means for your program.
Well, I've been coaching for a long time, and hey guys, let me talk here. All right. But this is a true definition of a team. They really are. They care so much about each other, and these things are easy to say when you win, but I would say that about them even when they lose. Just so proud of every. In the past year, we've had a lot of tough things happen to us, and these young men have really stuck together and believed. I mean, I was trying to convince them early, and I didn't think they believed, but then I started to see that they believed, and that's what it takes. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but if you believe, you give yourself a chance, and these guys did that.
Talk about the 5 days here in the Motor City. Motor City Madness, men's and women's basketball championships here at the new Little Caesars Arena. What did you think of the atmosphere here in Detroit?
Well, it was great, and we certainly appreciate our fans showing up, and you know, we expect that will continue to happen. This is a very difficult thing to do. Obviously, we want to make it a habit, but it's a very difficult thing to do, and we're just so appreciative of everybody that came out to this. It's a great atmosphere, obviously a great place to play, and we hope that we can stay here and keep doing it.
Congratulations once again, Scott Nagy and the Wright State Raiders. Direct your attention up to the video boards as we honor the 2018 All-Tournament team, including from your champion Raiders, number 11, and the MVP, number 13, Grant Benziger. Come on up here, Grant. A bucket away from a double-double yesterday, 19-7 in the championship game. Talk about your performance, not only yours and teams, for the last 5 days.
It's not about me. It's about these guys. They've been unbelievable. They support me. They give me the ball to shoot, even though I don't make them all, and I can't do anything without them, so it's all about them.
Your senior year culminates with a trip to the NCAA tournament with the guys behind you. You guys ready? How you feeling right now?
Yeah, we're ready. We want to go there and we want to win. We don't want to just be there and show up. We want to win, so that's the plan.
Congratulations, Grant Benziger. And one more time, the 2018 Horizon League Men's Basketball Champions, the Wright State Raiders. This concludes our trophy presentation. We thank you so much for coming out tonight and every night to Real Motor City Madness. Take care, drive home safely, and have a great night, Detroit.
Do we want to show? Hey,
we want to show him struggling. I mean, it's, you know.
I think because it's a finality. They are champions.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I think we should spin it all positive.
Yeah, I agree.
You okay with that? You don't mind, do you? Okay. I'm going to say, you know, my love struggled early.
What you're not going to see is...
Hey, you know what's funny? The very first couple plays of the game when he dove into the stands, he kind of set the tone.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. Great. For the second seeded Wright State Raiders, they take down Cleveland State, your final in the Horizon League Championship, 74-57. From inside Little Caesars Arena, wrapping things up with Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. We came into this game talking about what a great team Wright State was. This team tonight, Fran, was led by their senior, Grant Benziger.
You know, he set the tone. Don't worry about the points, because he did get some points. But the first couple plays of the game, he dove on the floor, into the, out of bounds, and that really did ignite his team. Look, that's the kind of hustle that he plays with, but he did get 19 points, and you'll love to see a senior go out on top with a chance to go to the big dance. It's going to be one of the highlights of his career and his teammates' careers. And Dad, Todd Benziger, who had a storied, solid career in Major League Baseball, he's pretty proud of his son.
This is a team that came into this season as one of the favorites, and they walk away a champion. The Horizon League champs are the Wright State Raiders. For Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. So long from Detroit.